Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmomic channel. And as you have seen, I want to talk about some knives today again, and offer you my thoughts on cultural heritage, and as usual, pretty much as usual. I want to start with the first version I got myself, and I'm really fond of the type of this type of knife, and this is the first I got, and this is what people abroad know as a sodbuster, and which is called Hyperkniep in Germany, which sounds a little bit funny, and is often translated as a goat knife. I'm a philologist, and I beg to differ, because the term Hippe maybe derives from Old High German Heppa, Gothic Hepja, and it is referring. It has the same etymology as the German Häppchen, and a Häppchen is a bite-sized morsel or something. There's something you offer a Häppchen when you invite people, and you get some maybe you get some wine or beer, and you offer Häppchen. It's nothing. That's not a complete meal. It's not difficult to prepare, and but often it's just like sandwiches, but small, and some dips or something like this, and the famed Mad Eagle, maybe, and the term Hyperkniep is deriving from the same etymology as knife, and it is a rather old diachronic status, which might refer to an Indo-European Knipja, or something like this. Knipan is, on the other hand, the same etymology as the German word kneifen, which means to pinch someone, or something like. There's a famous tool branch named Knipex, and this is the same etymology. It's about pinching off something like wire or something, and so if you translate the term Hyperkniep into modern terms, it would be a morsel biter, and this is really cute, because I think this is what it was actually this is a pretty common man's knife, and it has a little bit of a serious background, because in France it was called mineur, and often had a black handle like this one, for a reason, because this was a miner's knife, and quite often this knife was the only knife in the household, because people were just so poor, and people say it was self-defense against rats, and something that I don't buy into that mindset, by the way. I don't think so. Rats are rather fast, and if they would attack you, they won't attack you one by one, and given that this has no locking mechanism, but it has a really stiff spring, which is lovely. That's really great to stay, and I think it is what the name says. It's the Häppchenkneifer. It refers to cut off pieces of something to eat, and it's a snack knife, and also around the house and garden, and the ones with locking mechanisms were often referred to as Notschlachter, emergency butchering knives, because a lot of around these parts, I'm living sort of in the rural region of Germany, and around these parts it was common for miners and steel workers to have a garden and some livestock like chicken and rabbits, meat rabbits, and they would butcher them themselves, and also they held chicken and livestock because they couldn't afford to go to the groceries. Let that sink in. And sound familiar? So this is pretty much a poor man's knife, a common man's knife, and this made me think about, for once, the cultural heritage of poverty. Because if you were a kid in a worker's family, often you became a worker yourself and your kids, and if you get unemployed, your kids would be unemployed, and inequality is a thing up to date, and it is even getting worse. So this knife is in a tradition of industrial exploitation, and that's not a cool background to talk about, and I know you don't need me to tell you that world's going to shit or something. So I will leave it at that. What this is a really potent working knife. It's if you take, for instance, if you want to carve or something, it does that all right. It's the handle is rather beefy and lends itself to pretty hard work. Pretty powerful cuts. Like so. And but you can also use it for really delicate work, and so also the spring is rather stiff. This is not something I would normally do with a slip joint knife, and it's please don't try this at home. And it's all around. It's surprisingly capable of doing everyday tasks as well as the odd carving and bushcraft task. And you know me, I recently talked about my Glock survival knife, and the thing is, what is a survival knife? That's something you need to answer for yourself. It's not that I can answer it for you, and I don't want to, and I don't know it all better. And but what is intriguing to me is that especially the working class, shepherds and even farmers and hunters and or not hunters, but those who help the drivers who help the hunters get their prey, because more often than not in history, hunting was a privilege of the wealthy, or at least nobility, and so there was no such thing as a working class hunter. And actually, but drivers, farmers, more often than not, shepherds and cow herders, and there's that Western cliche that cowboys used, at least in Germany it is, that Western cliche that cowboys used Bowie knives all the time, and well, those were pretty clumsy affairs, and I think more often than not people would use a pocket knife, especially if they were a little bit involved for fun or something. But actually, pocket knives could be quite expensive, but they would be rather versatile, often providing you with several blades at once, and so you were better equipped for the tasks at hand. And so what I want to say is that this style of knives, the swordbuster, is called swordbuster for a reason, because this is a derivative term for a farmer, and so I think these people needed their knives to do far harder work than we are accustomed to these days, because we have all these machines and all these implements that will help us working on a farm. It's still hard work, and don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything from I've been a farmhand myself in my life, so I'm pretty much talking I'm not talking out of the blue, so but compared to those times, I think farm work was a lot harder than it is today, and most people today don't even do farm work or gardening even, because, well, hard work and stuff, and a little whimsical hard. Just to show you, it is perfectly doable with this knife and this style of knife. And actually, this knife is the epitome of a grandpa knife. When Gramps was preparing you an apple or something, and cutting bread over the thumb, or doing everything with it, from repairing watches and risking the tip all the time by prying open something. But this is what people did with their knives, and it wasn't a sissy queen, but it was a tool. It was an everyday implement, and they actually needed it. And well, carved a little heart. So these are pretty tough, and well, the average person practicing bushcraft or survival or something, who's going into the woods, actually wouldn't do harder work than people did with their knives back in the day. And the difference is that they, and I'm meaning no offense by that, because I'm not excluding myself. The thing is that we don't know how to use a knife anymore, because tradition has been deliberately broken off in order to make us subject to capitalism and to enhance control over us. You shouldn't repair, you should consume, because if you don't consume anymore, then the system doesn't work anymore. And that's not even a criticism, it's just how it works. And and if Grandpa, if you were lucky and Grandpa went out with you into the forest and whittled a stick and something, then, well, yeah, then you are lucky. And but more often than not, this is something that did no longer happen in my generation, because, well, those were the old farts, and why should we listen to them? Which was a big mistake. I didn't. I actually was very hungry for everything my grandfather and my granduncle had to say, and I'm pretty glad I did, because it's really valuable to me, especially right now, because they lived through similar times. Maybe ours will get even worse, but and if I think about these people, not just my grandfather, not just my granduncle, I think about resilience. And the thing is with they knew how to use a knife, and they knew how to repair stuff, and they I know that my granduncle, he bent over and picked up every screw or nail and piece of metal he could find, and stuffed it in his cellar, because, well, in his workshop, and because he used it, and he used every single bit of it for repairing stuff and making do, and he never left home without a piece of cordage in his pockets, fire, and a knife, a little bit of wire, and well, and his pipe and stuff, and what he carried with him. I don't know everything he carried in his pockets, because it was a lot. And well, the thing is, this is the story of resilience, and these knives typically are a story of resilience, because, well, They are pretty tough. They are pretty simple. They could be repaired, and this one is one that's a little bit like the old ones, and you can see that the axle pin, the rivet, is pinned over a disc, and the head isn't ground away. On this one, it's the same construction. It's the axle pin is pinned over a brass disc, but they ground it down, and which is perfectly doable. That's not a problem. But on this one, if there would be any play, you could just pin it over back in, and would be perfectly fine to adjust the play, which is also something that a few people know how to do these days. And well, this one is an old version of the Otter Hyperkniep, which is still from one late Rainer Morsbach, and I really owe this gentleman a lot, because he taught me a lot, and I bought a lot of knives from him in my day. Because he always had some weird ideas, and he was always innovative, and it was just cool, and we had lots of awesome discussions, and this is one of the old ones, and this is a newer version. The new owners are really awesome persons too, and if we always had planned to go mountain bike riding together, because they also do this, and they live around the corner, and we keep meeting, and we always want to make do, but when it's just not going to happen like it is, something you regret on your deathbed, I think. Anyway, this is one of the newer ones, and the scales on this one, on the first one I showed, are lovely Grenadille, which is hard African blackwood, and a hardwood that's commonly used for making saxophones and flutes, and it has a really fine grain, black color. It has rather high oil content, which makes it pretty resistant to humidity, tear and wear. And I've toasted this one about, and it's coming back for more. It's just cool. The blade on this one is C75 steel, which is a steel with 0.75% carbon in it. It is tempered to the rather conservative 56 to 58 HRC with a through temper, and the spring is C45 steel, which is a carbon steel with 0.45% carbon in it, which is tempered to a spring temper of 45 or 50 or something, I think. Rather stiff, and the steel is rather resilient because there is only carbon and iron in it, and you can, while it is not really it's not a modern steel. It has a really fine grain, and it's due to the steel not being tempered to its full potential. It could easily get some 60 HRC, but then you needed to be more careful, and in a production line that's not always possible. And this one is the same steel, both in the spring and in the blade. The spring is also C45, and like on the other one, the liners are steel, and which is also lending itself to the durability of the knife. And on this one, the scales are smoked oak, and I'm a little bit divided on that, because it's beautiful wood. It's pretty, it's pretty. Looks a little bit rustic, which I really do like. It has a sort of a grain, and it is sort of brushed. What this is, however, is, it's almost as if it were rotten. You can use your fingernail to get imprints in the wood, and I will polish that away with a piece of antler, by the way. It's not as tough as the Grenadille versions, and but it is beautiful. And if you take a little bit of care and put it in a bag in your pants or something, so that it in a little pouch or something, I think you will be perfectly okay. And the blade is really thin, as by the way, it's 95 millimeters long. The thickness is 2 millimeters or something, 2.2 I think, and the thickness above the edge is just 0.2 millimeters, and this is awesome for making really fine shavings and really nice little logs. If you see this, it's almost addictive. So if you go like this, it just sails through the wood, and you can see it's really fun to use. This is also awesome for food prepping and snacking, obviously, because the name lends itself to it. As I said, the handle is, I'm a little bit divided on the handle. I would rather, they also make them with micarta, by the way. Go to their website, otter-messa.de. You can see the lineup, and there are pretty awesome award-winning designs on it. And what I really like about the Otter family is that they are taking tradition into modernity, and this is really cool, and really love that. And there are other handle materials. I think there is this ice beech, spalted beech something, and plum wood, and the African blackwood, and also a more simple redwood or something, but also micarta, and really nice lineup, and other knives as well, also traditional knives. And by the way, I'm not getting paid for that. I'm just fond of the knives. It's not that I got any partnership with Otter or something going on. Just to mention it. What it also has is a lanyard with. On this one, there's a brass washer to facilitate taking it out of the pocket, and this is I think a steel one. Well, the thing with this is, if you close the knife, actually you are fine if you look at that, but there is no protection against the against the blade, and if you accidentally, what you shouldn't do, press it back in, you might be in danger of cutting the lanyard. So that's maybe not that cool an idea. You shouldn't do this because you get this little nose rests on the spring, and you don't want to press it with any pocket knife. With any slip joint knife, you don't want to press it in too much. And this one is an older version of the newer ones, which still has the pinned over nail style rivet. And I'm coming to the next one, which is almost identical. It's also an Otter Hypoknip, and this is the latest version. And take note, I did blue the blade in order to prevent it to rust. It's also C75, springs C45 again, rather stiff again. But what I must say is, with time, the stay and the walk and torque are getting progressively better, ever smoother, ever better, and really cool. All of the knives are perfectly centered in the not perfectly, but centered in the handle well enough. This one also has got smoked oak scales. Well, same problem with them, but well, if you take a little bit of care, that's not too much of a problem. It's just a little bit of a luxury problem. And what this has is another axle pivot, which is not pinned over. It's just a rivet that's pressed in, and I think that this might save production costs or something, or production time. I like the old style better because you could repair it and better work on it, and so this is also same thing for the blade. This is really addictive to make really fine shavings and really precise cuts, but it's also pretty suitable for really hard work. And I'm not talking about battening. You might be able to split some wood if you do it sensibly, and maybe I can show you. A little bit of a like so. And off you go. So this is also suitable for splitting if you know how to, and it's also capable of doing really well, a little bit more force, and if you get this chest level cut, also perfectly doable. Also, it doesn't feel like a slip joint. It's still really stiff in the spring, and actually you don't realize that the blade has not a locking mechanism, and I've never had it closed back on me. So the next one is a little bit different. It's the last one in my little collection, and actually I honestly bought it because the knives at Otters are they are really awesome, and they are really clean, and they are almost not custom knife level. That's not what I'm saying, because that's not true. It's they got their shortcomings, and they are not some heebie-jeebie gubalaba. It's still some honest Solingen quality, and it's a great thing. They are even working in Solingen. So this is not what I'm saying. And but they almost got too clean for my liking, and I wanted one of the really old ones. You know, the ones that some miner would have bought in the 40s or 50s or something, and 60s or something, because I think they need to be preserved, and the best way to preserve these are to buy them and use them, and at least preserve the tradition and tell the story, and and I stumbled across. I was looking for these little Solingen corporations with just a little cottage and in the true sense of the word, grinding away every day, and and they exist, and there's one corporation called Abram Herder Limited, with the brand name Tukan, and these knives in the layout and the quality were sold on weekend markets and stuff. And if you were shopping for your groceries and you were in need for a knife, there always were these cutlery booths on a common farmers market, and you could get them there in exactly this quality. With a white wood handle, I think this will be Bubinga or Cocobolo or something like this. And with this, the spring is as stiff as on the Otter ones. A little lighter, because you can open it with one hand if you want to. I don't recommend this by the way, because it is a two-hand opener, and it's a little bit dangerous to do this. Walk and talk are also really awesome. You hear that it's addictive, and the spring, as I said, is C45, and the steel is actually a little bit, I think it's CK85. CK means the carbon content and the purity of the steel is extra controlled, and so there's a warranty that there is no phosphorus or sulfur in it, or really little ingredients numbers which would make the steel rather brittle. The blade is, if possible, what is this, 2.0 to 2.1 millimeters, rather thin, and also rather thin above the edge. It's a tiny bit thicker than on the thinnest Otters, but it's still 0.25, 0.3 millimeters above the edge, and this lends itself to the same, pretty much the same cutting abilities as the Otter knives, and this is not perfect. And if you look at the blade's not quite centered in the handle, and it's the scales when they arrived were rather dry and coarsely finished, and the blade was in great condition, and the hardness is top notch. It's a really rugged tool, and it costs a fraction of the price. It's just 20 euros or something, whereas these are around 65 to 85 euros now. The handle on this one is a joy to hold onto, because it was finished coarsely. This is because they wanted to enhance grip. I talked to the people at the customer service, not because I was I had any complaints, but because I just wanted to know some facts about it in order not to take bullshit. The redwood is really rugged, and it's actually maybe a better choice than the smoked oak, because you can put it into your pocket with your keys, no harm done. And I really tossed it about, and there's this for several years now, and there's the tiniest of the, excuse my fingernails, I harvested walnuts and didn't remember to wear gloves. Don't do this. Got colored hands. There will be maybe a video upcoming on what to do with the walnut peels, but that's a different story. And and I obviously couldn't help but put a finish on the handle, and but it is pretty much the way it arrived, and even when new, it was a joy to hold on. It's just like some pebble you have in your pocket, and your hand just wants to hold on to it, and it's giving you a feedback due to the slit of the liners, but other than that, it's like just a lovely piece of wood, and it's also pretty capable. If you look at that, the others can do this too, and the thing is with knives, to come to a conclusion, all of them are highly recommendable. This one is cheap and maybe something for your toolbox, and the others are for your Sunday endeavors, or they are one of my, especially this one is one of my favorite mushroom hunting knives, because lanyard, and that's a cool thing to have. You can just, if you want to pick the mushroom, you can just put it on your wrist and get it handy, and to clean up the mushrooms. It's really slicey and really great for harvesting the mushrooms. So these are some of my favorites. I carry a separate brush in my pocket, one I made myself, and these knives are really capable woodsman knives. And let us be honest, if you're going into the woods, and if you're what is it what you do there if you're going on a hike? If you go on an overnighter, maybe that's a different topic, but well. And if you're going, I'm talking about walking through your local woods in Germany, and I always carry a Victorinox too. That's not what I'm saying. And there are also pocket bushcraft knives, and there are awesome bushcraft knives you can bring with you. But I find in these last years I've been carrying pocket knives more often than not, and just transporting my bushcraft knives in my backpack, because it just weighs you down, and you don't actually. What do you need a Glock for on a bimble through the German autumn woods? And that's what you need to decide. It's not up to me to tell you not to take a Glock or something, or if you need a tracker knife on an autumn bimble for foraging mushrooms, well, that's none of my business. That's not what I'm saying. And there's also something like just wanting to. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just my personal 5 cents as this bundle of knives, and it's quite something, weighs about as much as or even less than the Glock. And thing is, and there's one aspect of obviously too that's legal thing. This is a pretty traditional knife, and if you're going through the woods, and obviously in the woods you won't have any problem at all, even if you carry a Glock. I don't think so. But if provided you were asked any questions, you don't freak people out with this. This looks like a kitchen knife, and you are harvesting mushrooms anyway, so no one will panic. And if people panic nowadays, this is a bad idea, because they get silly around that. But not if they were not capable. That's not. Then I wouldn't say this. But on the other hand, why bother? Yeah, recently I ran into some wild pigs, as I already said on the Glock video. But ever seen a wild pig? You won't do anything with a knife against a raging boar. That's not going to happen. Not with a knife. Not with a knife that short. Even with a Glock. Even the Glock is too short and too shallow to fend off a wild pig. You need something far broader and far more effective and longer for that. And if the sow or the boar really get mad, you won't stop them. You needed a spear for that. So you won't stop them with a knife anyway. So, and self-defense, well, you know my stance on that. I know my thing about defending myself, and the chances I had to defend myself, and I was also on the wrong side of a knife attack, and got the scars still, and I'm glad that I had a lot of luck. The best defense against a knife attack is not being where a knife attack happens. And I don't think that in the woods, I don't think that the Dachshund wolf will attack you with a knife. Wouldn't happen. And the thing is, this is what I said countless times, if you focus on the bad things will happen. And even if they don't happen, you have focused on the bad things, and it's your mood that's deteriorating. The thing is, it's about getting the job done, and the question is, what do you do with a knife? And for me, it's sitting in the woods, whittling away, preparing food, foraging for food, and stuff like that, and crafting stuff. And I choose my knives for achieving that. And that's one of the reasons that I have reverted to pocket knives more often than not, because they are light, they are easy to carry, convenient to carry, and well, I got a belt knife, I get my Castrum for really art splitting work, or for different carving stuff, and also got a little slurp knife and a hook knife in my rucksack, because to date I'm still strong and I can still carry that, so that's not a problem. And but they work. All the knives and all the tools I use work for me. That's not saying that you're not allowed to do this or that this is shit or something. That's I also own a Cold Steel SRK, and I've postponed the video about the SRK time and time again, because I can, for the life of me, not find a single good thing about this knife. It's the most expensive blade blank I own. It's just, it doesn't cut and it doesn't work, and it's not, I don't think it's even good for self-defense, because it's top heavy. And the thing is, this military mindset ruins your fun, and this is what I want to say. It's just, you get your SRK and you want to whittle yourself a spoon because you left yours at home or what have you, and it's a pain in the ass. It's possible you can adapt, that's not what I'm saying, but why should you adapt if you can just bring a Swiss Army knife? You can also bring a Swiss Army knife additionally to the SRK or a multi-tool or something, if that's not tactical enough. The thing is, we don't do this, most of us. I'm trying to make it a living at the moment, but most of us don't do it for a living, and so that's our leisure time. And why should we use shitty tools or inadequate tools for the job? I don't want to say that's the reason why I haven't made a video about that knife, because I don't want to. Nothing is ever completely bad. It's not completely good and it's not completely bad. That's how life works. That's not something. But I don't want to talk about the bad things about the SRK, but I want to talk about the good things about these traditional knives. And you can really see and really feel that back in the day, these have been used and these have been refined after people put some input in, and that's what people used in earnest, not just for the hoods of it, but in earnest. It's what they had to use. This is what, and their life was far harder than ours will ever be. Maybe. Don't quote me on that, please. And you know, these knives, just like Pukot are awesome because they have been refined over centuries and even millennia. By the way, they look a little bit different than what we know back in the day, which is medieval ages, and there are pretty great examples of knives that can do everything, and these are amongst them, unfortunately, for the tactical crowd. And there's a time and a place for tactical, don't get me wrong on that, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not claiming that I'm in any way a tactical expert or something, and there's a time and a place for a tactical knife, that's not what I'm saying. And I want to make very clear that it's due to my own restrictions of what I do, is that I restrict myself towards a knife, because there's no harm done if I carry this one and an additional SAK and I'm on a bimble foraging for mushrooms or something. I would be able to do everything I need. And even if I come across something and I want to whittle something, and this will do. I've done this countless times, and as I said, and also there's a little bit of nostalgia involved because my gramps and my granduncle also had knives like this. Not a Hippoknep, by the way, but knives like these. My father had a Hippoknep, amongst others, and he also was a knife nut. So I hope that was halfway informative and maybe even helpful. And if you want one, get one, because they are also awesome in the kitchen. They can do everything in the kitchen. And if you put them in the kitchen drawer, they don't get blunt because they have no contact, blade-to-blade contact with other knives in the drawer. But you can fold them in, and they are really awesome for snacking and really awesome for even for dicing onions and garlic and cutting thin slices of legumes or something, even preparing carrots and celery. I love these in the kitchen because you can also put them in your pocket, and if you're maybe you go to the larder and you need to open a package there, and you don't need to run around with an open blade like some madman in your so they are really practical knives. They are really refined knives. They do have their shortcomings, as I said. You can get them also with a locking mechanism. Then they are called Notschlachter. From various corporations, not just from the Otto brand, but the Otto makes the best ones, in my opinion. I'm not getting paid to say that. They are not too expensive yet either, and I can only recommend you get yourself one or the other Hippoknep. They are also, as I said, this one was, I think, 26 euros, 20 euros, don't know, 26 I think. They make awesome tools, enough said, and for that price they are hard to beat, and they do an awesome job in the garden if you want to cut back some, especially now in autumn if you're a gardener and you have to cut some, if you need sometimes you need a bill hook or a pruning knife or something. That's not what I'm saying, but they also offer these. Most corporations also offer gardening implements like pruning knives how's that called? If you want to put another sapling onto maybe a plum tree, apple tree or something. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. It's just lost for the word. And most corporations also offer these, and this is something I think, if it works as an everyday tool for generations, it can't be too bad in the forest. This is something that's a rule of thumb for me has proven itself countless times. And so hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me for an entire hour. I hope that wasn't too long. And enjoy the forest or your garden, and stay sane and healthy. And take good care. I hope to see you soon. Bye.